Hey, everybody, this is Tim Lampley with STL TV, and I'm really excited about our guest today. Jill Maragos developed her sense of humor and knack for storytelling as a survival tactic for growing up with a crazy family in Buffalo, New York. With degrees in broadcast journalism and mechanical engineering, she made the natural progression into stand-up comedy. She mixes intelligent and hilarious storytelling with quick, didn't see that coming, punches. She has appeared on The Office, Laughs, Comedy Time for the Ice House in Pasadena, and West Coast Comedy. Jill, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I'm really excited about it.
Now, you've been in the business for 10 years.
About that,
and you're headlining now on your comedy tour. Tell us about that.
I headlined in Indianapolis last weekend at the Helium there, and this weekend I'm doing 2 shows, just sort of as like a warm up for next week, where I'll be recording an album in Buffalo. So it's a big jump up for me. I'm usually a feature, which is the 20 to 25 minute spot, and to do 40 to 45 is you got to kind of get that suit on to make it fit you a little bit better. So this is leading up to that.
Well, tell us right off, like, how long has it taken you to get to this point? Where did you draw your inspiration from? A little bit about yourself here.
I've always kind of been funny with my family. We would get together and play card games, and I'd be making jokes to them. And I actually had bits that I would do. They'd be like, do this spelling bee thing or whatever. Like, oh, okay. But I never really put that together as like a stand-up comedy thing for some reason. And I've always been interested in comedy. I always loved comedy, but I had never really done it. And I had a friend down in Los Angeles, she's one of those girls who can't do anything on it. She's like, oh, I can't go by myself. Will you go with? So I was like, yeah, okay, And 10 years later, I'm still doing it. I don't think she's done it once since, but it just kind of, I think for most comics, it just becomes this thing that you can't not do. You hear a lot of people being like, I don't know how you can do that. I don't know how you can get on stage and do that. And it's like, you can't not do it when you're a comic. Like, it's just kind of in your bones or DNA or something. So yeah.
Who are your role models when it comes to comedy here?
I love like Sarah Silverman. I love Richard Pryor. I'm all over the place with it. I like traditional, like setup punchline type jokes as well. But Richard Pryor's act outs were just like I'll geek out on you for hours if you ask me. But Gary Goldman, who had the Great Depression, it was I think it was on HBO, a special. I think he was nominated for an Emmy for it. I love him. He's like a technical genius when it comes to writing. So those guys, and then the people who inspire me to write the jokes are mostly my family. Because they're just bonkers, it's family. They're crazy.
For some reason, you don't strike me as a Richard Pryor fan. He was so in your face.
But he's so good, right? And he drew from just the darkest areas and made it like art, which I think is amazing. His upbringing was insane, but he was hilarious. I mean, it's truly a survival tactic, especially for him. So I think that's sort of where I look at that, like what he did. We didn't have the same upbringing, but like the idea of turning what kind of created you into what you create is interesting to me, I guess.
Well, I just mean that I'm not certain, but he wasn't one of those clean comics. I mean, he certainly would.
That's why I love it. I know I look like a 5th grade teacher, but I like the dirtier stuff.
But yes, you laugh over it. Really, really funny. Obviously, one of the legends. And do you draw from some of your teachers, maybe other family members, in terms of how they presented themselves in life? And have you taken a lot from them?
A lot from like my mom and her mom. That side of the family, just really out there, like just funny. And we grew up sort of like we sort of learned to laugh at the really dark stuff, because otherwise what are you going to do? Like, you'll just lose your mind. So a lot of like my humor comes from just like, well, if you don't laugh, you'll cry. So that came down from like my grandmother and my mom. And so it's a lot of a lot of stories about them. And I'm married, but my husband's really cool. So he's really terrible for inspiration. So, but he's great for support and love. He's just not great fodder for comedy. I do some stories about the two of us, but I usually come out as the bad person.
Now, are you funny all the time? Do you make him laugh at home?
I do, I will do anything to make him laugh. I will dance like an idiot. Like if he's having a bad day, I'll be like, you should just look at me right now. And he loves to laugh. And he's so weird because he'll come to every show that he can. Like he could practically do my set because he's seen it a million times, but he just comes as much as he can. He just loves comedy too. So it's great because he would never want to be on stage. So there's no competition there. But he's also like I can run a joke by him and be like, that word needs to change, or he's great that way. But yeah, I'll do anything to make him laugh.
And he doesn't get mad at you about the personal stories, that things that happen at home and that you're telling it to the public.
Yeah, isn't that nuts? I would be so mad, but he's like, no, it's okay.
Yeah, I would too. Don't you tell that. No, don't you tell that.
It's crazy, and he's so okay with it. He's so, because he knows he's got it locked in, he knows that I love him, so he's just like, whatever you need to do, tell your story. So yeah.
Well, in terms of your stand-up act, what do you say that you will get the audience on your side there? What do you know that you will knock them dead with?
You want me to tell the jokes, or you want me to, like, there's certain jokes that I have that are...
I don't want you to give it away, but I just want a hint of when once I hit them with this comes, I know. Yes. I don't know if you drop down on the floor or you turn around, you say something. Oh, yeah.
There's always like...
You're going to get...
Yeah, I know what you mean. I have a few of those, and I try to start with that, and I have a few of them throughout the set. They're paced. So if I'm if I'm losing them, I know I can go here. And I also try to I have more material than I need for that time. So if that material isn't working and they want you to go a little dirtier, I have plenty of that. Or if they want you to be really clean, I can do that. So I try to just taper. Is that the right word? Tailor. Try to tailor to what they're liking. So yeah, but I do have a few. It's that setup punchline type joke that I was telling you about that I will go to where people don't necessarily see it coming.
Is that what makes a good comedian and comedienne?
You mean the setup punchline type stuff?
Making sure that you have something just in case you're losing the audience.
I don't know. I think for comics who like Maria Bamford, who's going to be in the main room, or people who everybody knows, like a Richard Pryor, I think they already know him enough that they've bought, well, not anymore, obviously, but for a comic that's a nationally known comic, they're coming in with their audience already knowing them personally, so they can just sort of dive in to what they want to talk about. But for me, where people don't necessarily know who I am yet, I try to give them, this is who, let's get to know each other before I start telling you my most intimate secrets, because you would never do that at a party, right? You wouldn't go up to somebody at a party and be like, hey, so about this really intimate thing, people would be like, dude, what? They'd be freaked out by that. So for me, it's here's me, and this is so, and again, it's gonna come full circle, but I have a friend who studies comedy, and he was talking about Richard Pryor's Live at the Sunset Strip, and that special, I know this is really geeky, but the first third is how I see the world, and the second third is how the world sees me, and then the last third is how I see me. So the special gets more and more intimate, which is why it's a masterpiece. And so I always took that as my inspiration to be okay, you don't need to dump how you feel on people right away. Let them get to know you before you start telling them. And I don't get super personal. I don't get crazy dirty. But I definitely wait on that until they get to know me. Do you know what I mean?
Right. Well, you can't meet Richard, obviously. He's, well, you don't want to. He's from Peoria, Illinois, by the way, not too far from here. Yeah, from Peoria. Okay. But who would you like to meet in your career? Or maybe you've already worked with somebody that you, were admired.
Yeah, I've met Gary. We've had great talks about, writing and stand-up. So that was I floated home, that kind of stuff. And I've worked with Tom Papa, who I really like. I'm trying to think of like the end all be all, who would I love to meet? I mean, I would love to just sit down and have a conversation with Jerry Seinfeld, because he's not necessarily my favorite comic, but he's a fantastic writer, and he's like nuts and like that kind of stuff. Like I said, I geek out. I love talking about that kind of stuff. You know what I mean?
Man, Jerry is so rich, he doesn't have to work another day in his life, isn't it?
Doesn't need to meet me.
For the rest of us, isn't it?
Isn't it nuts? Like that show he has, Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee. It's just like he can just do whatever he wants. He's just making money as he drives around.
Just think of any title of any kind of show, and guys who buy trees. I mean,
he can do that
when you got $100 million.
What do you want, a sequoia? Sure, you can have a sequoia. You want them now? We got lots of them. Take your pick, Jer.
So one last thing, what's next for you? What are you working on?
Well, so next Wednesday, the 9th, I'm going to Buffalo, and I'm going to record an album, which will be fun. And I'm going to do that in Buffalo because everybody I grew up with still lives there, and it's like a homecoming for me, which is nice. And then the rest of the weekend I feature for Chris Porter. And then at the end of the month, I'm doing, I don't remember what it's called, but it's like Nashville is Funny or something like that. And they record it, and I think it's on like the Grand Ole Opry Network or something. So a little TV appearance at the end of the month, and Portland at the end of March. So busy, but I'll be glad when this album is over. And so like, I just want it to go well,
It's a comedy album?
Yes.
What's it entitled?
I don't know yet. I figured it, like when people have babies, and then they wait to name the kid until they're like, oh, it looks like a George, or you know what I mean? That's what I figured I would do. I would give birth to it and then wait and see what it looks like.
How about any movies in your future?
None that I know of. I did.
Crossing my fingers.
I know, you and me both. I'm going to cross them while driving all the way to St. Louis.
I see some in your future.
I hope so. That'd be
sure.
Nice.
Now tell people how they can follow you or get to know what your next moves are.
Well, all my social media is just Jill Maragos. It's JILLMARAGOS. And they can follow me there. I usually just follow people back. I'm not like elitist. And then I have that's my website too. Well, sorry, I don't fall back. I'm a very famous comic. I'm recording an album, So yeah, social media is the best way, or it's pretty much it. I have some stuff on YouTube, and they can see there, or if they go to buy tickets, there's a link with there's like an 8-minute clip on there. So if they like it and are interested, then
Well, Jill, thank you so much for your time. The best of luck.
Thank you.
And everything that's coming up for you, and your wonderful personality, and I'm sure you'll knock them dead.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you again.